So a wish is always the countervailing deception that denies a real desire. So you never desire what you wish for, okay? The wish is always a facade, a trick that is played by the censor, but ultimately played by the God force that determines this whole scenario. But it's a deception so that the ego can enjoy its suffering and pretend that it hates it. But that is what constitutes its whole meaning and existence. And so the ego desires freedom or wishes for it, but doesn't desire it. It desires its capture in conditions in which it has lost its freedom, and then wishes it had it again. So this brings me to another point of Gödel's analysis of Leibniz, and he used Hegel's dialectic to analyze the monad's dynamics. And he thought Hegel was wrong, okay? He felt that for Hegel, the dialectic went from non-being to being to becoming, okay? And Gödel quite rightly said, well, wait a minute, how can something come out of nothing, right? This is one of those great philosophical questions that every philosopher, or even, you know, if you take a sophomore philosophy course, you have to face the question, why is there something rather than nothing? But how did something come out of nothing, right? It's not possible. So he said that before there is being, there must be possibility. So Gödel put possibility after non-being, and that was the dialectic, and the possibility then creates being. But that doesn't answer the question of how do you get from being to becoming, and it doesn't answer the question of how do you get from nothingness to possibility. How can even a possibility come out of nothing, right? Not possible, because that's the whole point of nothingness. Nothing is possible in the nothing. So this problem was actually solved by Abhinavagupta and the Kashmir Shaivite wisdom school, who said, no, God is not nothing. God is freedom. Okay? Chaitanya, that was the initial, and swatantriya. Swatantriya is the word for freedom, but it's also a name of God. I don't know if it's a name of Allah, but it's certainly a name of Shiva. And I believe that it's something that the Islamic tradition would also endorse. But the point of freedom is this. Freedom can choose non-being, or nothing, or being. Freedom has the choice to exist or not to exist. So freedom, or God, is the antithesis of Hamlet, because for him it's not to be or not to be is not a question. God's freedom chooses both being and non-being. God doesn't choose between them. Freedom has infinite possibility that can all be present in superposition at the same time. But the synthesis, so we'll say we have a thesis of non-being, because at first God is unmanifest, and then the antithesis of being, and then that becomes becoming. So that's how you get time. Now the quantum physicists, particularly Max Planck, who is really the father of quantum physics, he worked this out mathematically, that this is how the universe operates, that from the state of freedom, there is a move into appearance, a shift, and then a shift back into non-being. Being, non-being, being, non-being. It's a wave for Planck, and Planck even measured the wave. And what he said is that the appearance of the world is actually a two-dimensional flat film. And its width is actually 10 to the minus 43 smallest possible units. That is the width of the appearance of the film of the universe, that then becomes equally it just winks out of existence every 10 to the minus 43 seconds. Okay? And so that's the frame. You know, a movie frame is 24 frames per second, right? If we were just at 24 frames, it would be easy to figure out that this is a film. But at 10 to the minus 43, you can't perceive that this is anything but continuous reality. But actually, it goes out of existence that often, every second. Okay? It's that thin. It's almost unimaginably thin. But that's the two-dimensional film that the hologram is projected on that makes us believe we're in a three-dimensional world. And the frames come so fast in the sense of time. It's really all here at once. But the light, the divine light that shines through the film, and that's why the speed of light is like the limit. That the light is what shifts the attention from one frame to the next, to the next, to the next. That is what creates the sense of time and space, rather than simply a flat frame of information. So we are living in a freeze frame universe, but all of the frames are present at once. But the laser beam that's going through, like on a CD or a DVD that goes from one bit to the next, is going through one frame at a time, but at the speed of light, and bringing the sense of passing through time. But it's actually only that wave that is entirely present at once, okay? And that wave starts with freedom and ends with freedom. So that all the possibilities of being and of non-being are able to be worked out and expressed in the entire cycle from beginning to end. But that cycle is entirely present. But we are in a freeze frame world in which we think that we're alive, but it's only an informational illusion created by that Chaitanya or Swatantriya, that is the infinite freedom of intelligence that is free both to be and not to be. It has no definition. And so to be is to be defined. And to be defined, definite, is the opposite of being infinite. So freedom must go from the definite back to the infinite. It chooses. And it does it so fast that it's as if it's simultaneous. That we are constantly going out of existence, more times per second than you can imagine, and coming back into existence. But because your conscious mind can't perceive something happening that rapidly, you're not aware of it. If you get to very deep delta states in meditation, you can become aware of this, the flickering. But it will not be apparent in most states of consciousness. And yet it's been proven, and the logic of that is what enables physicists to make sense of the whole idea of the quantum leap from one frame to the next, and the quantum tunneling, et cetera, et cetera. All of it depends upon this frame of reference. So it's something that I think is very useful in understanding the illusion. And remember, the frames do not exist except as structures of thought. But as the light goes through them with desire to believe that this structure of thought is a world, the desire for existence, then it creates a holographic illusion of being a world filled with beings who are alive and conscious. But the consciousness is simply the light that is passing through the film.